All right, so I got the goats out grazing again for a few hours before I go see clients, and feeling really pretty well today. As far as my journey with tinnitus, um, doing a lot better. Feeling more consistently quiet in that department. But it's been a long, hard journey and lots of ups and downs. And if I got some other stuff going on, actually, got like some kind of inflammation going, kind of in my lower back. I think it was from kind of doing farm work. I kind of kicked up some old inflammation. But why I mentioned that, I was thinking about the idea of feeling better and the idea of what symptoms are, as far as a signal to you that you need to do something, and or that something needs attention in the body. That's often what symptoms are. Although chronic symptoms, sometimes it's like a signal that didn't ever turn off. And so we can work with that with neuroplasticity and things. But as far as self-care, as far as self-healing and self-compassion, I was thinking about the fact that sometimes when symptoms subside, it's natural that we become more relaxed with ourselves in our self-care routines. And that's certainly been true for me. And I think, it's true for all of us, and we need a balance. I made a blog post about this the other day, but we need a balance in self-care between self-discipline and self-kindness and self-compassion and enjoyment, right? Self-care isn't just all like routines and working out and making sure you have the right nutrition. Those things are important. Sometimes they're very important. Sometimes just finding the right diet is hugely important, and being able to stay with that. And that's a huge aspect of self-care. But when we're going through whatever it is that we're going through, self-forgiveness and enjoyment and all those things are also important. And so, yeah, it's like when you're feeling a little bit better, maybe you're going to want to rest, but you probably are. I was just talking the other day about how I'm feeling so tired after this journey of healing tinnitus, or tinnitus, whatever you call it. But as the journey continues, I realize there's been multiple times where I felt better, and then I got off a little bit of what my routines could be, and I've kind of adjusted that some. For example, there's been a couple times where I got waked up in the night by a stressful event, okay? Or the stressful event happened during the day, whatever. But and I knew I could feel it was triggering my nerve. I knew it was going to likely trigger my tinnitus. I mean, it did, and I accepted that kind of, it's like, okay, that's what this is. But one of the first times that happened, because I didn't have like hardly any stressful events for the first many months that I was working with the tinnitus. I had a space outdoors, where I slept outdoors. It was like a wilderness rites of passage. I was very much in solitude. And so, I don't want to make you dizzy, but pardon me, a goat just walked under the tripod, so I had to pick it up for a second. That's how things go with goats sometimes. So, and apparently it made me sneeze and totally lose track of what I was saying. So, stressful events, and then going off of things. And I was talking about how I really reduced the stress in my life for a while. But then, eventually I went back to work and went back to living in the house and different things like that. So gradually started to, integrate back into life again, right? And so here's the thing. The first time that one of those events happened, I had interrupted myself, but I'm getting back on track. The first time that one of those events happened, like a stressful event happened, after I, started reincorporating back into family and work life, after my wilderness rite of passage, I did some habits that I guess I started to recognize are stress, like stress eating. I did some stress eating, right? I ate some things that weren't on the diet I was planning to be on. I mean, I never go completely off. It's like there's like a secondary diet that I sometimes have allowed myself, but my body just wasn't having it. And in fact, there were some things that I ate some ice cream. It was like a healthy, like a keto ice cream, but I had like traditional dairy. At the time I was doing some dairy, but I do like A2 dairy and like yogurt and things like that, but not, it just had like normal milk. And I used to eat this type of ice cream, this like keto ice cream sometimes. But this one had peanut butter in it, which I almost never eat, and then it had eggs in it, which I recently tested for being really sensitive to eggs. So now the point I wanted to make, I guess, is that the second time that it happened, I didn't do that. So I got stressed, it kicked up my tinnitus, but I didn't let it get me off my diet that I wanted to be on. And that way the tinnitus could settle back down more easily without having additional gut issues or food sensitivity issues that could prolong the spike. And you'll see this with people that have experimented with healing from tinnitus. There's a lot of people with experiences with food, changing their diet. And there's research that shows different things can, oxalates, salicylates in the diet, if it becomes, to a point where your body's not properly getting rid of those, they can be a trigger for tinnitus. And you kind of, if possible, they're in all kinds of medications, so it's really hard to get them out of your diet if you're on pharmaceuticals. But it's possible, you lower them down as much as you can and try to reset your body's systems, to where it can process those things again and gradually reincorporate them maybe. But like gradually change to taking them out of your diet. My focus has been like bone soup lately, bone broth. It's felt so healing. And there's been a connection between something's been going on with my gut health and the tinnitus kick up that I experienced months ago at the beginning of all this. It was like the day after the tinnitus kicked up and something started happening with my gut health, and then it took a really long time for both to sort of start to get back on track. But I know that what I need to do, given my history, and this is probably true for all of us, especially if you're aging like me, like as we start aging, and I have a history of some chronic illness and stuff too, but which I think has aged me some. But as we start aging, we need to continue to care for ourselves. You got to work to keep muscle mass on us, for example. And so what I realize is that as I heal from my tinnitus, as I begin to experience, let me put that differently, as I begin to experience a relief in symptoms of tinnitus, I still need to keep doing the healing work. You know, I want to create that vibrant longevity. I want to be potentially healthy past 100 years, as the title of the book goes. So it's important to keep going, keep finding ways to be healthier and healthier in our practices, and that includes keeping going with self-compassion and self-forgiveness, those master keys to wellness: self-awareness, forgiveness of others, all these gentle, soulful qualities. You want to bring those along, right? Those don't stop when you start doing something disciplined, right? When you have to do some paperwork for work, or some hard work, or you want to do a hard workout. You bring those qualities with you. Bring that sense of joyful productivity with you. When you even when you have to work on your self-discipline. And so the goats are pulling me in various directions as they browse around, and they're such sweethearts, though. They really are. So I thought I'd try to see if I could get them on camera a little more. And she just doesn't stay still for very long. That's Mouse. Pan is the other one. There's Pan. But so yeah, keep going. That's the message here. You know, keep going with your overall health. I mean, it's funny, right? It's a battle that we're at this point, you know, in time as I speak this, we're 100% likely to lose. Like, we haven't found a cure for death yet. So, you know, eventually we're going to lose our body. But my idea is I want to extend that health span, that vibrant longevity span. And alongside of keeping going when I don't have symptoms is the idea that I don't want to let symptoms get in my way of my soulful enjoyment of life. And that can be tricky. You know, sometimes the inner critic gets going, you get symptoms, you start thinking about what caused them. This is where sometimes the self-forgiveness or forgiveness of others comes in. You start thinking about a series of events and, oh, if this just wouldn't have happened, or if I would have done this differently, I wouldn't have had this symptom. But, you know, that's an ongoing part of healing too, is the psychological part and the spiritual part. And the reminder for myself there is often that I think of whatever happens as something that happens for growth, for the purposes of growth. So everything that happens in this school of life can be for my spiritual growth. It can happen for my spiritual growth. I mean, does that mean that I don't wish for suffering? I don't look for it to happen. I don't wish it on anybody. But when suffering does happen, I go, okay, how do we work with this? How do I work with this? And I remind myself that it's grist for the mill for spiritual awakening. It's just all part of it. And hello, Pan. She keeps trying to drag me over this way. Not quite sure what that's about. There's more food over here, guys. There's more food over here. So, yeah, I hope this is helpful in some way. I make this content, not just to get clients, but to hopefully share something that might be helpful with someone today. I'd love to hear your comments below, your questions. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to me privately if you want to comment privately. I'm Tom Kirkham. I'm on Big Island, Hawaii, and I'm a mental health counselor, and I focus on consciousness, spirituality, and integrative health. And I like to help all kinds of different people. So I look forward to hearing your comments and hope to see you on the next video.